All right, so at the 11th hour, we finally get to see the big picture at the 11th hour. And every single argument that you were given and thought whatever choice you made kept you safe. Well, we're finding out that's completely not true. You were never safe. You were never ever fucking safe with whatever choice you made because you didn't know what choices you had to make. You were given the choices to make. And that's what's crazy. That is what's finally freaking crazy, is that you were given the choices at the time, and then you lived from those choices, never at all evolving your choices and taking in new information, which is why it's so hilarious to watch those who used to be in the J world still stick to the old information, thinking that the J juice is going to save them, thinking that their choices and whatever therapy they did or did not do was going to save them. Thinking that if they stayed away from all food, water, and air, that they would be saved. If they believed in a politics, religion, or science, they would be saved. If they just completely ignored whatever was going on, they would be saved. And that is not true at all. It was always the infrasound that you didn't know really was like a rock that was thrown into the pond of the jet stream, the ionosphere, and you had the chemtrails to change the atmosphere to make it thicker, make it more influential, because when you're in so much aggressive atmosphere, it's like being around a type of mist that is all activated and electrical. It's like being around like a plasma. You're in a plasma. Even though you don't see it, I see it when the sun shines through. If I'm willing to play that game of hanging out in sunshine right now, I'm not. But I saw the plasma. I've been seeing the plasma. You saw the Hollywood version of plasma in your universe and the upside down in Stranger Things. But, you know, the whole chemtrails in the sky, it's all plasma. It's all reflective nanoparticles that they aren't poison, but they do activate people's immune systems. They are what I've been dealing with as far as the sickness and the dizziness and the vertigo and all the things that people have been complaining about at different times, because different immune systems will react to the same thing at different times. Okay, that's why you don't get everyone saying, oh, my husband doesn't feel shit. That's what I'm saying. He's Superman, but he was bred to be Superman over here in Appalachia. And so, and he might be O negative. I don't know for sure if he is negative. I will assume he is O negative. I am O positive. That's for sure. I am O positive. And people who are positive do gain a lot more of the offspring. And they have to do things, if they want to survive, do things outside of the medical holistic system to release those demons so they don't become gargantuan. What do I mean by that? Overabundant. Morbidly overabundant. That's what happens when you take on so much life. You're morbidly overabundant. And so I think the RH plus factor is what causes the morbidly abundant. And so I think the RH negative factor is that balancing force. But if you had other things working against you, you'd really have to compensate for energy that's used continuously. And that's why I say A and B blood types with the RH factor, plus and minus, they have to figure out how to compensate for whatever. And everyone's going to feel stuff regardless of blood type. But anyways, enough of that. So, yeah, once I figured out that it was infrasound that we're dealing with, infrasound that caused all the different instability in people's immune systems. And you had things to blame. You had, of course, the V's, VACCINES's. You had the GMO, the air, food, and water. So you had all the different places where you can scapegoat. You can blame even me, Jilly Juice, oh God, Bill Gates, anyone that they've given you to use as a tool so you felt better that you had someone or something to blame. I mean, but it was the infrasound. It was the system throwing proverbial rocks into your pond of environment, of atmosphere, shaking up your world. That's essentially what, I mean, and you could say it's the Wi-Fi, but not necessarily. You could say, you could blame it, there's so many things that go on up there in the skies that you have no idea how truly deep this is. How so orchestrated to the point where you don't even know where it began and where it ended, where it ends, because you don't. You have to just adapt. Well, you don't have to. But if you want to live, it's about adaptation. So, yeah, it's like, oh my gosh. When I figured out it was infrasound, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm thinking about World War II, because I remember watching old movies of them blacking out the windows when the enemy fighters would go over towns. And if you blacked out the windows, then you wouldn't be a target for them dropping bombs. And that's kind of the same scenario when I'm thinking about, oh shit, the eclipse, and there's 3 rockets, and there's going to be, oh gosh, there's credible threats, right? IFL Science says, don't be caught out. National Guard, there's so much police and so much this and that, state of emergency, and oh gosh, you're like, okay. And then it's the infrasound. Oh my God, there's 3 rockets. And you have the chemtrails, which gives just the thicker atmosphere. Not poison, but it's influential plasma. And then you have the 3 rockets. And then you have CERN. That's also going to be turned on. I mean, there's so many things going on simultaneously that day. And then they're saying, hey, everybody come out. Come out, come to this area, this viewing area, and here. And so, yeah, so you have these sanctioned viewing areas that are going to be controlled and regulated, of course, right, for safety and all that. So when things do go awry, people are contained in certain areas. Don't be on the highway. Don't look at the highway because they don't want dead bodies on the fucking highway. All right, here, come to this place. They even showed the Indian Lake when they cleaned it up, because the National Guard came and cleaned it up from the last tornado. The last devastation area that we had the last couple of days, weeks, whatever it was. Here, come to this place and view the eclipse here. And here's your $1.38 glasses or viewing lenses to view it safely. And I don't discount that there is something in there to help look at the sun without burning your retinas out. But I'm not even going to go do that. I'm going to miss the whole fucking show. And that's the thing about where I'm coming from. Sometimes you have to miss the show to save yourself. What do you mean miss the show? Because at first I thought I would watch it from on the back of my deck in my house. Nope, I'm not going to be outside during that day. I'm going to be in my basement with this open cell foam that actually can take on the infrasound, the vibration. That's what Leave the World Behind was telling you when Julia Roberts was holding her ears. Okay? And there was explosions and cars were crashing, and then her son Archie was losing his teeth, and people are losing their teeth. They are dealing with stuff. I mean, when the J juice came around to begin with, and people weren't used to immune system activation and energy vibrating their deficiencies and their weaknesses, some said that the J juice caused them to lose their teeth. Well, I wouldn't discount that, because if it was already loose and dead and things, and then we activated the immune system to purge out the dead things, the things that were decaying and rotting in people's mouths and whatever else, that's what the J juice did. It was ionic. It released the demons. It activated people's immune systems that should have worked, right? But it wasn't. People's immune systems were not working. They were constantly being frozen with all the remedies or cut out through the surgeries. And then when the immune system was forced to activate, because there was several rocks every so often being thrown in the pond, at least twice a year that we know about, spring allergy season and cold and flu season, then they would deal with those issues and keep remedying their diseases with Theraflu and V's and NyQuil and Dayquil and all that stuff. And so then there's that. Then there's that. Immune system activation and dealing with the rocks being thrown in the pond. And then, of course, the amplification of the sun. Of course, you have the thicker plasma atmosphere. So you have also reflective nanoparticles that aren't poison. And maybe they're silver, right? Silver. Which means that you're having little tiny mirrors all over the place. Microscopic mirrors reflecting and even heating up the atmosphere. Causing then the things to start shaking, reverberating. So those foam. I had those little foam things in my basement because my husband bought something that was wrapped in those open celled foams. And I didn't want to throw it away because it was still something that we potentially could use. And that was probably the only thing in my basement. You saw my basement, I didn't show you the ground, but there's nothing in there except a washer and dryer and our heating element. What is it? Our gas and our electric down there. And then there's those foam things on the ground. And I'm just like, that's just so weird that's the only thing on the bottom. So I cleaned out the basement a couple months back and cleaned everything out, and I was throwing shit away because I'm not collecting everything. I had so many boxes and so many things, but that was the only thing that I left was those. I knew someday I would use it. I don't know when I would use it, but then I figured out I would use it for the windows because we have these types of cork type of windows, like those ice cube type windows. Windows, when the infrasound comes through the windows, that's another, what is it, conductor type of thing? Like they said, those that sleep with the shades open most likely will get, 30-40% chance of a stroke. And I'm thinking like, oh, shit. And then the whole thing with the rockets and all that. And so I got into survival mode. How am I going to strategize my survival in this? And then knowing that people around me are not fucking prepared. My husband's oblivious, but hey, he has me and I have him and we're helping each other out. And we have been matched together to be that compensation. He compensated for certain things that I couldn't do. I'm compensated for certain things that he can't do because of whatever. And I will give him a choice to be down there with me with those things in the window that I have those little foam right there in the window where that bathroom is, where I'm going to sit for who knows how long, 3 hours and 38 minutes or whatever it is, 45 minutes or no, 38 minutes and 45 seconds. From like, I would say by 12, I'll be down there. And there's a toilet there I could use. I'll have water and I'll have food. That's okay. And a flashlight, because what happens if the lights go out? What happens if the grid goes down for whatever reason? They said that with those rockets being shot up into the atmosphere and the ionosphere during that time, that it could interrupt communication. So there's a story for whatever's going to happen with the infrastructure breakdown or communication breakdown, phones breaking down, internet going down. For whatever reason, things will go dark. I will still be in that fucking bathroom. Okay, and my husband can do whatever, but that's the reason why I got really, really tough love on my Facebook saying, okay, you have 10 days, less than 10 days to get food, water, and fuel and prepare for this. I don't want anyone knocking on my door asking for anything or saying, oh my gosh, the store, I can't call and whatever. Do you happen to have this, and this? No. This is when I'm going to be like, no, you have 10 days. You have 10 days to figure it out and prepare. And I know my husband's a good dude. That's why people like him more than me, because I'm not one to be taken advantage of. I'm not one to be manipulated into something. I'm not one to be like that. And so that's why people love to go to him for shit than me, because I'll say, no, go figure it out for yourself. No one likes a tough love type of person. But I'm telling you, survival, my survival and his survival is dependent upon saying no to people who haven't prepared for shit, who think that Jillian is stupid, it's all conspiracy, and don't want to prepare. And so when the shit does finally hit the fan, literally, when it does hit the fan and they're like, oh God, they're going to find out the hard way that they should have prepared. So I put it out there for everyone. If all my friends and family, anyone, my neighbors, whatever, you need to have food, water, and gas. And you need to be buying, stuff that will be at least 1 to 2 weeks or 3 days. Because this whole thing of, we got to pool resources and hang out together and be Lord of the Flies, that's going to get old very quickly. And I'm not out there to go save people who haven't even figured out how to fucking save themselves. And they've been given plenty of notice. I've been saying shit for the last 3 months on my Facebook to people personally, to their face. Prepare food, water, gas. Like, well, should we come to your house? No, don't come to my house. I can't control my husband, but if you ask my husband for anything, that's the thing. If you ask my husband for anything during that time, knowing what's going down, what I've been warning people about, and you ask my husband because you're going to take advantage of him because you know that he will say yes to you because he doesn't say no to people, I will fucking lose respect for you. I will lose so much respect for you. And I know you will be one of those who, you are the manipulator, you are a user. And so that's the tough love that I had to deal with growing up. And I fucking get it. My mother taught me correctly. Because when you start saying yes to everybody and being that savior to everybody, then you become the sacrificial lamb. You become the thing that people are going to then suck the life out of when given the opportunity, because people do not prepare. They don't listen to anyone. They don't take personal responsibility. And they're in fucking denial about everything. And that's how they live. And then they expect everyone around them to bail them out. And some generations are more famous for that, are infamous from that. Millennials, boomers, even some Gen X. Especially when you have a large group of friends and family who will say yes to you and bail you out and cover you where you were blind. But when you weren't raised like that, and when you've been on your own for the most part, you don't live like that. You don't depend upon everyone around you to pick you up when you fall over. You don't depend upon people to pick up where you didn't anticipate something going on. That's why I warn my friends and family. I warn everyone in my neighborhood that I'm in contact with, fucking prepare. You don't know what you're dealing with. And I can't be the one to save you and be like, oh, here, let me give you resources that I saved myself and spent my hard-earned money and even denied myself pleasure and paradise so I can survive this. Do you think I'm going to make concessions and suffer for you? That's the thing that is coming down to. And it will come down to that for people. But the system probably won't let it come down to that to such an extent because the way the rocks are being thrown in the pond, many who are that dependent, sick, and always relying on somebody else because of whatever issues, they may not even survive the waves. They may not even, they'll be gone. The ones that are stronger will be around, be like, yeah, I can handle it. I have enough food and I have enough water. I don't need to be knocking on someone's door asking for this and that and the other thing. And so the system is strategic in what they're doing. And so it's the weak that are going to be in question whether or not they're going to survive these waves of energy. And then you see the people, the deniers out there, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Fear-mongering. Okay, you're so fucking fearless. Great. Go out there. Go do whatever with the rest of the crowd. Go follow the herd. I don't know why you have to dispute my information. I don't know why you feel you have to say people shouldn't be scared. Who are you to tell someone to turn off their immune system? Oh, that's right, because you've turned off your immune system. You're under the influence. You're so in fear, you don't want to be in fear, and you want everybody else not to be in fear, and you need misery likes company. I'm not telling you to stay home. I'm just saying, here's what I'm doing. I'm not going to people's Facebook and say, I don't think you should do this, or this. But those who are actually literally scared are telling others not to be scared. They're in fucking denial. I can't handle denial people. It's a disease that I choose not to entertain anymore. Denial isn't a disease. It's a disease that you do. That's a disease of. It's like a zombie disease. Like you removed your immune system in your fucking soul, and then you want to remove other people's immune systems and remove their soul because you did that too as well. Especially when you go and try to convert someone on their Facebook and telling them that their fear is unfounded. That's what you're dealing with in this world. That's why I don't hang out with family and friends. When people finally fucking wake up at the 11th hour and they're surrounded by those type of zombies that are actively removing their own immune system and their soul and expect everyone around them to remove their immune system and their soul and not feel pain and suffering and not feel any fear, I feel sorry for you because you will be the sacrificial lamb. Once you figure out what the hell's going on, you will be the sacrificial lamb and you will be mocked by your friends and family and by your community. I don't know how you're going to get out of that. I don't know how you're going to get out of that. I don't know. But at this point, it's not even a matter. It's too late. And so it's quite extraordinary watching how this shit's going down. Quite extraordinary. And so I said, April 8th, triple-demic, infrasound, CERN, chemtrail. 3 rockets. Chemtrails is the plasma. It's not poison, it's just plasma. It's what you already hold inside, but when you add in like salt or electricity, it activates and vibrates the atoms. Okay? Infrasound does it. That's why those foam, open cell foams will still let the sound in, but absorb the vibration. So less vibration is in pass-through directed towards you. So when I'm in that bathroom with those foam pads, I'm not saying I'm 100% protected from a little vibration. But given where I'm at, I might get less of it versus being out there looking at the freaking sun with the glasses that they've given out and totally exposed to everyone and their mother. So it's why I'm going into my billionaire bunker on a budget basement. It was always the infrasound that woke up your demons. If you didn't know this, then you would always be so compartmentalized, blaming a person, place, or thing, or whatever activist stance you were given at the time. You were never truly safe with your choices because you didn't understand how big this picture was until the last minute, and it's too late for many people. It literally is too late. I've spent 7 years uncovering this picture little by little. Some of you have been following my information. You might have a chance, maybe. I still can't guarantee. Others are jumping into this information at the last minute and they have not even figured out their own bullshit. Now I'm just an entertainment piece to them that they can go and laugh at. It's too late for many people. I'm not even watching the eclipse. Well, I would never was anyways. I'm just going to listen to the fallout and watch it on Facebook and weeks later. Okay. This is to those who actually respect physics and science. Think of the ionosphere and the jet stream like a huge pond. Plasma. Everything is connected. The ionosphere, the jet stream, humans, plasma, the air, whatever, okay? And then some kid throwing a huge boulder at least 3 times in that pond. So the rockets are going to be going off into behind the eclipse, into the sun, or wherever it's going to penetrate the ionosphere 3 times. And it's also going to then reverberate through the jet stream. And that jet stream goes around the world, the lower atmosphere and the upper atmosphere, and that wave will pick like a tsunami. It's a tsunami of energy. And that will be a wave that will then circle the globe. That's physics. That's just the most basic physics of just throwing rocks into ponds and rings of energy. And so, and you see the wave of energy, each ring as it goes out further and further and further and further and further until it hits the shore. What do you think the fish feel like, or even the microbes feel like, when people throw boulders into a pond? They feel the wave of energy. Some survive, some don't. That's April 8th. That's why you're going to see a lot more accidents at the epicenter. And they told us this. IFL Science told us this. Don't be caught out. There's going to be at least, a certain percentage of increased accidents. I mean, they're saying this because of more people, but Las Vegas and all the different venues for concerts, they've had more people at times, and they weren't talking about accidents and increased, things like that. So no, there's something else going on, but again, you have your beliefs. You can believe whatever the fuck you want. And then another pandemic. So that's why you're going to see a lot more accidents at the epicenter, and then another pandemic, and those waves of energy move people's monsters. And of course, more heart attacks and strokes. You see, I've already felt the waves of energy. I've dealt with it this last month I've been sick. And then the other day, going in shopping with my husband yesterday, or day before, whatever it was, the day before. Oh my God, that was a nightmare. It was a fucking nightmare. Oh my gosh, it was a nightmare. That was the first time I ever thought that I could have fainted in that place. That was the first time I ever felt I could have fainted somewhere. But I said, I'm going to keep pushing on because I have to. My husband doesn't feel anything. I have to get this food. We have to do this. I have to get this water. This is what I think I need for whatever. And And then he's on vacation. Good for him. He's doing great. And so, you see, I've already felt the waves of energy and I've dealt with it. I know what to do when they come around. I don't resist the waves of energy. So I've been sick this whole last month because someone threw another ring in the pond or another rock in the pond. And so, yeah, last night, this morning, I was feeling a little bit of the pull of the diaphragm, but I blew my nose this morning and released a bunch of demons and everything is great. But, yeah, there's just that, I can't remember now the feelings because they come around and I deal with it, whether it's anxiety or, yeah, like I was sweating and feeling it's the hunger. That's what it was. The main feeling was the hunger and the arm pain. That's right. Because I remember there was a stink bug on the ceiling and I'm taking like a hot pad and trying to get it. And I just thought I had more of a range of motion. No, it hurt so bad because the lymph nodes, my lymphatic system was in activation and it had limited range of motion during the times of activation. And wow, the body tells you when it's using those resources for this and not for trying to reach a stink bug on the ceiling. But I took a broom and got it down and then swept it out to the back door. So, but then even that time, a forcing function was in getting all the cobwebs in the basement, which I did. Okay. I've been promising my husband I'd do that because I didn't have a basement growing up. So I don't think I cleaned the basement. Half of it is like finished. The other half is not. But yeah, blowing my nose, coughing and sneezing, pulling out crap. Yes, that's all part of it. And then the hunger. Oh my God, the hunger. That's what was also said in either Twilight or the Vampire Diaries. The hunger. The debilitating hunger. And then you are smashing pizza. You're smashing quesadillas. You're smashing meatloaf and whatever else you have on hand. I have pizza rolls, I have burritos, and I have quesadillas, and I have salsa, and I have sour cream. So I'll be smashing quesadillas this week. I still have spaghetti and meat sauce and Parmesan cheese. And that's pretty much it. I buy the basics because it's all I need. Okay? So I've been sick the last month because someone threw another rock in the pond. A few rocks. I've been conditioning for the last 3 years. Many of you have been in denial and resistance, either starving yourself or under the influence or ramming away your disease when it was convenient. Yeah, that's going to end for so many. Can you imagine those that don't eat meat, milk and cheese and eggs and whatever, right? They weigh next to nothing. They don't feel anything. They're just living off the fumes. They're living off the artificial energy in their body. But when the system turns shit up and they hardly have anything to them, and there's so much resistance because there's not enough fat, too much muscle, they don't have enough nutrients, or they're overabundant. And so when growth happens that quickly, it'll either smother them or there's so much going on. So that's going to end for so many. April 8th, triple demic is the Infrasound. CERN, chemtrail, 3 rockets, which is why I'm going into my billionaire bunker on a budget basement. Okay? That's why I showed you that video of me going down, because that was the first time that I figured out when someone, I think Kim, posted about the rockets going into the ionosphere, and then I Googled that. I'm like, holy shit. And then there's CERN. We didn't know about that until just recently, that CERN was going to be turned on at that time. If we didn't known that, it would have made a difference. Probably not. If you even knew all the things that were going to happen April 8th, would people be ready for it and do anything different that would save them? Not necessarily. Because they're already in denial, whether you get the information today or 6 months ago. If you're already in denial and you don't feel anything and you're in disbelief and you think I'm a conspiracy, fear monger, It doesn't matter when you find the information. It just so happens that they're going to have to tell you they don't want to have that too much being, mulled around too much and get everybody all like whatever. So the closer they tell you the stuff to the actual D-Day, there's not enough time for people to really mentally, biologically, and intellectually prepare for what's going on. I mean, I guess it's a war tactic. It's strategic. Well, good for them. And so I said preparation. There was no way to really prepare people for what is about to go down April 8th. Compartmentalization, comfort levels, lifestyle, belief systems, and levels of pain tolerance were programmed into humans ever since the system knew how to isolate resources, manipulate psyches, and control immunity. Of course, knowing me and humanity, I was projecting that most people were like me. They could change the way they did things, be open to new information, and then become tolerant, evolutionary, and accommodating to change and be open to the disputable plans for the future. Why are the plans disputable? Because even though the system had been telling us that they were doing what they're doing and why, people thought by resisting change that was implemented way before their grandma and grandpa's era, they could stop it. Therefore, change won't exist, right? They thought that they could just go about their daily life as if nothing has changed, even though the system told them their daily lives would be inevitably interrupted one day to face the cold, harsh reality people so cleverly tried to avoid. That's called procrastination. You can't procrastinate in a society that is ever evolving and changing so much. You couldn't procrastinate your adaptation to change. You had to find a way to figure out how to not only manage it, but go with it and find ways to do things a little bit differently so you can survive it. So people had friends and family and coworkers, kids and strangers tell them shit is going down, but denial, which has been categorized as just another run-of-the-mill disease, right, was definitely so underestimated. Oh my God, the denial is freaking crazy. When all the deniers are faced with a cold, harsh reality, their comfort, predictable world will be interrupted. Not only will it be too late for many, but those who were in resistance will finally pay respect to those who orchestrated it all, if they even survive it. I'm already paying my respects to the architects of the system. I did that 3 years ago when I watched the Netflix version of the Boston BOMB. I knew exactly who and what I was dealing with. I got right very quickly. No, I did not sell out, but I recognize the government is the highest power, the higher power, and they are not your local officials who are just puppets, part of the architecture. They are people you will never ever have access to, and they change positions all the time. They are a collective of people who will make sure no one has absolute power, corrupting absolutely, and they are the ones who are showing you just how bad your own peers can be to each other. So when I'm scrolling, I see shit that I'm like, oh my God. Or I'm on YouTube and I'm scrolling, I see stuff about the Vietnam War and what some of the soldiers did to some of the women and children. And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I scroll very quickly. And even dealing with trolls and dealing with people who are in denial and dealing with people who are just hateful. I'll tell you, the system wanted you to see who you're dealing with, who you're breeding in your house. The system is the mirror many cleverly have avoided for centuries. When I finally looked at the mirror of the Facebook, I threw up watching my reflections all over the place. Denial, hatred, intolerance, so much suffering and pain. And so we are finally wrapping up this decade-long storyline of conspiracy that is so relevant but not the official narrative. And in less than 10 days, everything will be revealed and all truths will become true. Okay, so whatever you believe or not believe, it's all true. It's all true. There is nothing for me to dispute regarding your lifestyle, your belief system, what you think they're doing and why. I see all these stories about how they're trying to do this to interrupt the elections. Okay, fine. Because they're afraid of TURUMP. Okay, fine. You're right in your world. You're probably right anyways. And so, okay, now that you're right, what are you going to fucking do about it? Right? And so April 8th, those who feel nothing, fearless, unafraid, mocking those who are, oh my God, good for you. You were right based upon your immune system. You get to live and mock another day that you were spared and then others were not, hiding away. Okay? So you get to live and mock another day and that you were spared and others were not. but you found a way to explain it away, that they were unwell. It was their time. It was the fucking rapture, whatever you want to call it, right? Or you're mocking someone like me, like someone did yesterday, some troll, and says, oh, you can hide in your little bunker and everything else, but we've had all these eclipses before, so I don't know what you're so afraid of. And I'm like, oh, yeah, the system is getting rid of people like that. That's what I'm saying. There's something for everybody, and the system has strategized. Exactly. I was given a fucking gift. All people in the conspiracy world were given a gift if they can figure out how not to resist anymore. But they've been conditioned in this. The mainstreamers out there who are fucking oblivious, deniers, alpha females and alpha males who tell people not to be afraid of anything. Yeah, you were given a gift of not feeling shit until the system wants you to feel something, and maybe you won't survive when you finally are faced with the reality that the world that you live in is not going to exist anymore. And so those who died suddenly behind the wheel, you were right. You had issues, and it was your time, the rapture. You'll go to heaven and be with the other 144,000 people. Those who get diagnosed with diseases following the eclipse, you will have air, food, water, therapies, and your friends to blame why you have turbo cancers and other issues. Those who stayed home and stayed safe even found the most remote part of their house, basement, to hide away in. You will miss the fireworks, and you will never know if it was worth it or not, because you will never know the other prong of the outcome in the fork in the road. You had to trust science and be thankful that even though you missed the greatest show on earth, you still have a chance to live and thrive another day. So those are like, oh gosh, you don't know what they're going to do. It's NASA. It's they're going to have maybe potentially, Project Bluebeam. Okay, so maybe you get the luxury to see whales, in the sky, or angels flying up and all that stuff. But then also along with that, there could be major infrasound frequencies that you won't feel or you will feel while you're watching that. It's like, what is it? A deer in headlights? Mesmerized, hypnotized by something that you don't usually see, and then the frequencies come at you, infrasound? Yeah, when you're trying to catch, what is it, an animal, and you bait them with corn and with meat and with all these things, and they're so attracted. Or when you have light over there and all the flies and the mosquitoes and things are attracted to the light, and then you hear the buzz, sizzle, sizzle, seizure. Sizzle, sizzle, seizure. That's what I posted yesterday. Sizzle, sizzle, seizure. You see, there's something for everyone. So no, I'm not going to be one of those that are curious to see what's going on out there. Oh yeah, some people will be like, oh, you'll miss a good show. You got to see the eclipse and whatever else they might have planned. No, the fuck I don't. I'll watch it on Facebook. I'll watch it on Facebook Reels. Once it comes back online, someone inevitably is going to record it on their phone. They still have enough phone power. Maybe they're offline. But someone will record it and it'll be housed in their phone. And then when everything goes back online again, assuming the internet comes back on, whatever, it will, I'm sure. But they'll be able to upload it and people can watch it. They can watch the rapture. They can watch people around them just drop like flies, right? See, there's something for everyone. I just hope your lifestyle and belief system are worth it. But what does that even mean? Death to those who are suffering is a blessing to those suffering so much. And life to those who are suffering must choose if death is the only outcome or find a way to support the suffering. So one day the suffering will be less and less and less and less. And you had to trust science. You had to understand science. And so what is the fifth wave? CERN. 1/3 rocket, 2/3 rocket, 3/3 rocket, then disease X. Okay, so you're wondering why all these different died suddenly and all the different, diagnosable conditions and turbo cancers? Yeah, infrasound. And the waves of energy hit people differently. Some people die suddenly, others get diagnosable conditions, others feel what I feel, and stay home and stay safe, and feed, and eat, and release, and not treat disease. So everyone has something, right? So, yeah, they slowly revealed all the different factors, so you wouldn't know the big picture until the last moment. Pretty strategic. And so I said the jet stream and the ionosphere are like a pond. And again, those rockets and even the sound frequencies and amplifiers are like throwing rocks in a pond. Okay? Everything is connected. And so you lay low, literally, you lay low. And then there's the San Andreas Fault crack is about to cause the biggest tsunami in history. Okay, we'll see what happens with that with California. Anyone that says I'm a fearmonger, and then you're also afraid of those who are V'd or not V'd and all that stuff. Okay, you're saying that it's all fear porn and shit. If you're saying my shit's fear porn, then I guess you need to get off your little bandwagon and stop fear porning your audience about something. Saying that you should be afraid of Jillian, she's putting fear porn into you. I mean, I can play that game with you if you want. I'm not going to. Oops. Okay. What am I doing here? All right, give me 1 second. I just lost my place. Okay. I'm not going to go too much into... You guys will figure it out. Yeah. As far as blaming people's death, at this point, it won't matter what you blame people's death on. You either will survive aggressive frequency shifts and suffer, or you won't. All arguments of what people blame anything on will cease to be really important, because even the untherapized people are feeling everything, and it's stupid to blame the other people who have been therapized. We were in a very low frequency environment, and we expect to die someday. We did. We expected to die someday. We were okay with the rate of cancer and disease at the times. Okay? As the environment became more aggressive, there was more frequency in things that we were okay with, and then the rate of disease and death were not okay. And so you either accept the rate of whatever death and disease we have accepted, okay? Or we reevaluate our beliefs around death, dying and disease, and pain. I'm done blaming anything, okay? Adapt or perish, and that's pretty much what it is. And so you saw my window, World War III, black out your windows with solar eclipse and everything else from solar eclipse, and that's why I have those open-celled foams in that window. And so if you have presence of mind and some money to spend, find some of these open-celled foams and put it in your windows and doors and places, and find if you have an attic. If you don't, okay, you'll figure it out where to go. But maybe your little Faraday cage will be like a box or something, I don't know, with those foam things around you. But I don't know if that's going to even help you. I mean, if you're already too far gone, it's not going to fucking matter. It's those in the J world that are dealing with stuff and know how bad things can be. Maybe you might have a chance to lessen the aggressive exposure. It's like these foam things are no different than when the system recommended wearing a mask at the height of the pandemic. That's basically what these foam pads are. Okay. Do I have one for everyone? No, I'm going to be in the basement. There's 2 windows where I used to do the Facebook Lives in my basement. So that window that I showed you with the pillow and those foam things is right across from the bathroom. Okay. And so that's where I'm going to be, is the bathroom and having that freaking window there. I'm like, geez. And so that's why I put those foam things there and maybe not in the other window because, I don't know. This is Billionaire bunker on a budget in my basement. I mean, I don't have astronomical resources to go and pad my whole basement and reinforce it with soundproofing, infrasound proofing type of things. But I've already primed myself for the environment. I know how to deal with pain and suffering and infrasound fallout. Okay? And others, well, you'll figure it out. Anyways, what did I say? Yes, open cell foams can absorb infrasound. Open cell foams can absorb sound waves and can be used in studios or homes to soundproof them. Open cell foam can be used in areas where it can stay fluffed out, such as inside door panels or in the back of cargo vans. The foam will absorb sound waves, but sound will still pass through it because the sound waves will be absorbed by the foam, absorbing the vibration, but you still hear the sound. That's what's crazy. It's cool though. Okay, and then the next pandemic may come sooner than you expect. So what will it look like? That's from IFL Science. I said some shit is so obvious people don't get it. Darwinism. That's disease acts after this eclipse. Yeah, all the people that are dealing with symptoms in the diet settling groups, yeah, infrasound fallout. But they have something to blame called the V, so that's fine, whatever. To all the alpha male and female deniers out there, that was in response to that troll. You proved my point that fearless alpha people will walk into danger and try to get everyone else to walk into danger with them. Eat your heart out. If you have nothing to be afraid of, then there's no reason to dispute my information. If you think it's fear-mongering or fear porn, well, you're so fearless, you have nothing to be afraid of. You can report and tell us what's going on. When I come out of my bunker or my basement, I hope to hear your report. If I don't hear from you, I'll understand. I'll send you thoughts and prayers. And that was actually tongue-in-cheek. I'm not thoughts and prayers in anyone. I'll watch it on Facebook Reels as far as the solar eclipse. Exactly where I intended to watch it. If you miss it, you're not missing anything. When I do watch it on Facebook, I will silently thank whoever put themselves in the path of danger to record such an amazing information. Okay? And so, yeah, some reporters said that the sky, what happens during a solar eclipse is the sky turns an eerie purple silver color. The temperature drops 15 to 20 degrees. So you can imagine when all these storms come around and people are feeling, rheumatoid arthritis and everything else. Imagine being out there when the temperature drops and the infrasound and CERN and chemtrail. Oh gosh, that's like a triple-demic, like I said. Okay. Yeah, the rockets will be launched in 3 different times from NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. The first will take off 45 minutes before the peak local eclipse. Whatever that means, right? Another during it, and then a final one 45 minutes after the peak local eclipse, which means everybody in the path will be affected and it will spider out, like I said, rings. The intervals are important, according to NASA, in order to collect the data on how the sun's sudden disappearance affects the ionosphere. Okay, creating disturbances that have the potential to interfere with our communication. What concerns me, though, is if they say evacuate during those peak times. I don't know, but no matter what, you will either survive or not. I doubt that will happen, say evacuate, but you never know. I think what will happen is that the people who are out there watching the skies with all their friends and family basically exposed and go through that, then they have to deal with that. And then the next time they want to deal with people who are weak and whatever, they'll have, of course, things happen, and then another rock gets thrown into the pond, and another wave of energy will do whatever. And so you have to continuously be conditioned for whatever happens, and you can't always be prepared that you're going to have a situation like this present itself for you to then find a way to escape the frequencies. Right now, those before the eclipse and in the J world and wherever else, you're given the privilege to know what's going to happen, and then you can find a way to protect yourself, but that's not always going to be the case in the future. There might be situations where you are told to evacuate or go here or do whatever, and you cannot escape. You don't even know when these freaking rocks thrown into the atmosphere are going to happen. It's been happening this last month. I feel it in my ears, the pressure drop and rise. Those are rocks being thrown into the atmosphere. Metaphorically. All right? And so what do you think will happen to animals out there? They're subject to infrasound. That's why animals have been going through their issues. You're seeing stuff that go on with animals out there in the oceans. Animals going in circles and circles like my dog was. Because of the infrasound, she was so sensitive to that. And so infrasound frequencies and reflective heat particles die suddenly in CERN, all that stuff. Okay, what are the harmful effects of infrasound? Okay, it's ear vertigo. So that includes those on the inner ear, vertigo, imbalance, intolerable sensations, incapacitation. Oh yeah, when I would, I think at one point there was something going on where I couldn't even move my arm. I had to really will it to move and push through the pain and open something or do something that I needed to. Disorientation, nausea, vomiting, bowel spasm, people shitting on planes, people shitting in their pants, people having an extreme urgency to go to the restroom. That happened to me a couple of years ago when my husband was changing the lights. I thought, it's a portal opening, of course, but there was a major frequency change. I felt the vertigo, I felt the dizziness, I felt the extreme urge to go take a shit, and I did, okay? So bowel spasms, resonance in inner organs like heart palpitations, such as a heart. Infrasound has been observed to affect the pattern of sleep minutely, of course. People are having issues with sleep, insomnia, okay? And so I'm just going to leave that, whatever. And so, okay, so that's all I'm going to say, because there's nothing else to say except that either you're going to figure it out or not. And I don't know what else to prepare you. There's no, this is the ultimate survivor. We are in ultimate survivor. And the system is watching everybody in the path of totality. They're watching me, of course. They're watching all the different influencers in the chemtrails world, in the anti-New World Order world, and they're watching those in the religious world talk about what's going on and what are they doing to prepare for this, right? We are like not only in the Hunger Games, but it is ultimate survivor. Outwit, outlast, outsmart. And that even includes the people that you love and respect the most. If you live in a house with a person or people, get them on board very quickly. Okay? If you have people around you that don't live in your house, get them on board very quickly. And if people have to go and hang out together, which might have to happen, because they have health issues, that's why you have an eclipse buddy. If you have a baby mama or a baby daddy, a wife or a husband, and you have a dependent, you should all be hanging out together because something could happen to one or both, or who knows, one. And if one is around to do chest compressions for a heart attack or a stroke, learn that shit. Okay, my husband is my eclipse buddy. If he wasn't around, I'd do it on my own. But everyone out there needs to be aware that they have to figure out who will be in their world to sit with them during that time, to pull your resources. And they know your background, they know your history, they know you pretty well. It's not going to be strangers that you're going to be communing with. You don't want to bring strangers in your house during something like this. But you let your acquaintances know they have to figure out how to prepare themselves. Okay? And then those who know your medical history and all that, then they need to figure out how to stay with you during that time. Because they could be the difference of your life and death. Okay? You may not have access to first responders. You're not going to have neighbors knocking on your door. I'm not knocking on anyone's door. I don't want anyone knocking on my door. Prepare yourself. If you have health issues, bring some in your house. But this is the time to get people on board to figure out how you're going to survive this, whatever is going on. And if you don't believe it and you think it's all conspiracy and Jillian's stupid, then that is your choice. But again, do not come to myself or my husband. But you won't. If you're dead from a heart attack or a stroke, you're not coming to my house. But if you find out that you can shelter in place and eat your food and water, wherever you have, and you don't be asking your neighbors for food and water. Granted, the people I haven't talked to in my neighborhood who knows what they know. But I already have not developed a relationship where they feel comfortable enough to go and ask me for water and food. They will figure it out. Okay? And so that's why I really just hammered some shit home yesterday. You have 10 days to get your shit together. Prepare. And that's why I wrote about to all my friends and neighbors around the eclipse. This is what I'm not doing for you. And people are like, oh, you're so mean, Jillian. No, you have 10 fucking days to prepare. You choose to use your money on baubles and stupid shit. That's your choice. But don't expect people to pick up what you didn't prepare for. And that's the thing about this system, is they're tired of that kind of parenting style. Because then the system has to pick up the pieces. And so, anyways, yeah, I was going off. Why is your lack of preparation my emergency? All right. I said mass human sacrifice April 8th. Jeez, Jillian. Yeah, it's a little dramatic, but it's like that. All right. All right, that's it. That's all I'm going to say. So, yeah, what's today, Saturday? I'm glad it's cloudy outside. A lot of soup out there. A lot of soup. And that's why the rain has been so crazy for people too, because it's activated rain. Everything is activated. Everything is vibrating. Now you got to survive the vibrations and the activation. All right. Bye.